What's going on, y'all? It's Greg Said It. We back with another one. I got a question. Fairly simple question. It's been a lot going on with Shador, Coach Prime. He got whatever he has going on, but smart, he's away. What can you say? It really helps with Shador. No distraction. All the lies they gonna try to flip on his daddy gonna be in the way. Now he gone. They confused. They don't know what to say. Meanwhile, they got a team out in Boulder, Colorado that's working. They get to, for the first time in 2 years, work out without the heat up their bat, without people taking them any kind of serious or really having a target on them. Yeah, you want to beat Coach Prime, but Shador gone, Travis Hunter gone. Stuff. It's hard for people to kind of keep a fire going for that long without some type of spark. So, one of the things they say all the time, and I wonder if it's still true. Is Colorado still too small? Do they still look like a little FCS team to you? Is the lineman still too small? The trenches. Last time I checked, I know y'all like to compare the SEC. You say that, even Big Ten. Where's Colorado fair now? Let's be honest. That's my question. I mean, they do have SEC linemen. They've been getting them. They ain't just getting little juke joint linemen. They do have linemen that's from the SEC. And he even played. They have some 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". They got all that good stuff. And they finally got some linemen that's not only big, but got game time experience. And not just lower level game time experience. But if they do, they did their thing. Now, I know a couple of years we had some guys, they stats say, oh, they only gave up one sack, run one hurry and all that stuff. And that was scary. And maybe that was at their level, but they just couldn't do it at this level for whatever reason. But, man, they got a lot of depth. It's like they just keep coming on the line. It's like every week I'm like, are they still getting players? They've been getting lineman after lineman after lineman. And they had already kind of did a good job in the portal. And they had already brought over some guys, the first round, then the second, and it's still coming. And I'm like, defensive line went and kind of beefed up some guys that really did their thing. It's like they didn't just get guys that was available. They got some guys that really did their thing to see, okay, some of them say, okay, can you do it at this level? And for the most part, guys in the past who they got did. They did. Now, first year, you can't really say much about nobody in the trenches as much. But I think last year, a lot of those guys who came over, they did pretty well. And they had some injuries and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, the defensive line did better. They definitely got more pressure on the quarterbacks, for sure, to be number one in the conference. To go from, they barely could get to the quarterback the year before, to last year they could. It took a while to get started, but it was hazardous. And a lot of those guys came back this year, minus like B.J. Green. So, are they big enough there? I know a lot of people ask about could they stop the run, especially against like the Kansas teams, Kansas State. They had trouble. Now BYU, that was in. We lost a linebacker, but you can add that too. Stopping the run when you need it the most. And I considered it more so a tackling issue than a size issue, because they would get back there and it just wasn't fundamental in tackling. I mean, especially when you see in Kansas State. In Kansas, they just wasn't bringing the people down. They was in the backfield. They were getting backfield in a hurry. People say, oh, the line was blowing them away. Not from what I saw, because they was getting in the backfield. They just couldn't bring the man down. So I think that's more so just, maybe that's weight room, maybe that's just practicing it. Because I was the one who made the big deal about them not hitting their practice. And every now and then, Coach Prime, we going to hit all week. But it's just something he just didn't really want to do. But it's hard, especially as a defensive guy, to keep yourself sharp when it comes to tackling. You need the drills, and you need to do it. Because tackling is more than just hitting somebody hard, unless you finna knock their block off. Shiloh's good with knocking blocks off, but sometimes them big old boy, they bounce off of them. So you got to be able to tackle, finish the tackle, not knock them off balance, not. Because even when you're not practicing tackling, like, it's hard to practice the right pursuit and the right angles and how to get your head across. It's hard to do that in a game we don't practice. It's almost like it's uncomfortable, it's awkward because you don't do it enough and you only do it in the game. So it's like your confidence is not there. Your skills definitely not there. So, things like that, I don't fully put off on saying, oh, these guys don't have the size enough to compete. That wasn't my look at it. But, and sometimes you feel like it was a little off balance compared to what the other team was able to do and what you was able to do from a defensive level, stopping the run, even from an offensive level, as far as having that run game to just be dominant when you want to, get the first down when you need it. A lot of times Colorado, a lot of those games that they lost. I remember like Nebraska. It was times where they moved the ball right on down there, but they couldn't finish it. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 drives where they got in the red zone and they couldn't score. Nobody talks about that. I did. They couldn't kick the field goal, of course, but sometimes they just couldn't get that first down, 4th and 1. We seen that with the BYU game. We seen that with the Kansas games that they lost. Even with Kansas. It's like when you finally do catch a break and get the move and you can't finish the drive because you can't get 1 or 2 yards. And they throwing the ball on 4th and 1 and 4th and 2 or 3rd and 1. And it's like they almost like daring you to run the ball. I mean, you got a 6'2" running back. He should be able to dive behind somebody. Ain't gonna get a yard. I mean, I felt like that's what Kansas was doing. Even when they would stand him up, he'd just fall forward for a yard on the goal line. That big running back from Kansas last year. They would hit him and stop him on initial contact. He'd just say, let me just dive on right here and get this yard. I think it's just the football mentality. I hope Marshall Faulk bring something to the table when it comes to that. Because it's just common sense to me. If I need 1 yard, I don't care how much y'all clog it up. That just come down to just wanting it and reading. You shouldn't be standing back there trying to dance around. Find a hole and get low. And that's where you really see the guys, the quarterbacks who do good at quarterback sneaks and the running backs who good at that. You're going to find a seam. You ain't got but so many linemen and so many gaps. It's good at finding wherever that seam is, getting low and getting down. Because you got to think about it. The only way you're going to stop me from getting a yard is if you stand me up. Why am I standing up? That's the only way I'm not going to get there. If I'm trying to run through the hole standing up in the air like a tree, I should be so low that even if you hit me and you fall on my back, I'm going to get that 1 yard. Unless I'm just running into a hole that's just not there. But for me to be trying to run through the hole, that's crazy. You ain't got to run through nothing. Just get low. It's like trying to score a touchdown and running the end zone, but just stick your hand out and hit the pylon. Break the plane. Don't be dumb. Your only job is to break the plane. Where to get the first down, your only job is to get the first down. Not to stand up, not to be high knees, not to be, running over people. Just get the ball to where it need to be. Stretch out. Get low. That's the mentality. They lacked. And I think that comes with just philosophy. But size, it could have helped, but it wasn't necessarily that size was the main thing on this side of the ball. It was the whole philosophy behind what they were trying to do in the mentality. But I don't think that's going to be the excuse this year. You got things you didn't have. You got tight ends, big tight ends, athletic tight ends. You got more depth and quality depth and size on the line, offensive line, and even the defensive line. You got a variety of running backs. It's not a significant change, but because you got such a plethora of schemes that you can use now that you have your tight ends and you have even a quarterback who can be a run threat, it should really make it hard to key in on anybody. Really. Because if you really key in on the quarterback, the running back, he gonna open up, especially the speedy running back. But if they key in on that running back too tough, if he just getting loose, then you forget to think about that quarterback. He one-on-one with somebody that he don't need to be one-on-one with. You see what he do. He know how to find the lanes. He know how to get down the field. That's what he gonna do. And then open up the pass game because, y'all gonna either be watching what's going on inside the box or you're gonna be watching what's going on down the field and lead the quarterback to escape and things like that. It's a hard thing to keep up with. But I think at the end of the day, just simply being able to get the first down, simply being able to get the 5 yards, and not always going for the touchdown, and it's not always going for the deep ball. Yeah, you can do it, but just hurting people's feelings, moving them chains. Because it can't be an either or thing. Like last year was either or. It's either we finna blast you, but you stop us. And we just, that's when you get beat. That's when Colorado got beat. When the big play didn't work. They didn't have a short play. It wasn't getting the running back out the backfield like they should, on the swing routes and stuff like that, or even wheel routes. It wasn't used. Didn't have no real tight end situation. So it was no really short intermediate stuff outside of the receivers doing it on bubble and routes and screens and stuff like that. And if you load up the box and you got these little receivers, it clearly didn't stop all the time, but it's easier to defend that when you know what's coming. But when you don't know what's coming and you got multiple situations, man, that's hard to deal with. So I think having the size is definitely a plus. Because you can't really bully them up front. But I think also having more options is just going to make them even more dangerous. And plus, I think they'll get underestimated, which I say all the time. But I just really just wanted to know. Do you still feel the same way? Because I think they were a little bigger last year than they was before. And I definitely think they're bigger this year. So what's going to be the talking point this year? What you going to say this year? I guess we should see. I'm just Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I'll talk to y'all soon.